All right, so let's talk about how we do a static site with Hugo. First off, you go to the Hugo documentation and we need to install both. You go to prerequisites, you see here we need both Hugo and Git installed. And you can go here, I assume you're on Windows, so you can go to Windows and click it. I'm on Linux, so I scroll all the way down here to Linux, and I just copy and paste this into my terminal. You would go to Windows, and you would install it. Well, you got to have a package manager to do one of these. So you'd have to install package manager. Probably Choco is the easiest, so you can look that up by going to this link. I'm not going to talk about that in this video, so if you need help with that, let me know. And or you can build from source, which is another possibility because you need to install Git anyways. So you're going to start by going over to installing Git. So let's not talk about that too much. Let's hope that you can get through Hugo and Git installed. And once we have it installed, we should be able to check that we have installed by opening up our bash terminal and typing Hugo version. Ooh, look at that. We got a version. All right. So this is how we get started here. So Hugo, new site. So this is our binary command, and then this is the arguments that we're passing to it, and this is the name of our directory that we're going to build. So let's do Hugo, new site, docs. Cool. So now if I look here, this is the directory that just popped up. I can show that to you real quick. So we have, it's not here, and we can go Hugo new site docs, and now it's here. So cd change directory into docs. Now we're here, and you can see it's already laid out a bunch of stuff for us. And this is going to be super easy if you've gotten this far. Our next step here is we need to initialize the Git repo. So go ahead and hit Git init. And I'm hoping that you have, if you don't have a GitHub account or some sort of Bitbucket account, some sort of Git account, you need to make one. But you're going to install, you're going to go to your repositories in your GitHub. So we should be able to go GitHub, github.com. And this is mine. And you'll just go ahead and click new, which is cool because this will give you all the commands you need. Call it git docs. I don't like to add anything here. It makes it a little bit harder. We can add that later. So just hit create repository. All right, so I already did git init, as you remember right here. So git add readme.md. I'm not creating this because we have other files to go in, so you can skip right to here. So git commit, my first commit. Yeah, we should probably add everything. So instead of adding the README, we're going to add everything that's in here. So git add, and we're going to do a star to say everything that's inside of this directory. Now, if you see, it's only giving me these two files because these little icons here, this tells you that it's empty. So that's what we're looking for. Now we're going to do our commit again. -m commit, and now we can do git branch dash main. That's this command right here. We're going to set our remote. This tells the computer to interact over here with our Linux. So git remote add origin, and now we push it to main. And I'll go ahead and do git pull so that everything is up to date. I can refresh this page, and look at that, our only two blank files. We'll fill the rest of those up in a minute. So after that, we can go down here. This is going to be our next step, but we need a theme first. So you go over to the Hugo themes, Do I have that up? Okay. You go to themes, and you could make your own theme. I've never done that. There's enough of these. We hit docs, right? And we find one that we like. Which one did I pick? I don't remember. But when you click on them, you go to a page. So like if I click tech doc, right, and we go to download, we go to this page. Shh, white dogs. All right, so this is pretty cool. And what we're going to do is go down to the install portion of this. And I picked this one. Some of the other themes are longer because you need to know it installed. But this is the important part. So CD into your project, docs, that's our project. We're going to clone this real quick. All right, so now if I did the git status, we have some new themes here. So we have a get modules theme, and we have theme slash Hugo theme talk tech doc. And what is cool to know about this one, another thing that makes this one really easy, is you see the site right here, example site. So this whole website right here, instead of learning how to do this step by step, we can actually just copy this website and then start editing it and making it look however we want. So we're going to go ahead and do that real quick. If I click on example site, you can see we don't have a whole lot of stuff in here, but we do have some stuff in there. So ls themes list, like list the file that's in themes, Hugo theme doc, and you can see we have some of the same files in here, right? That we saw in the earlier one. So we want to go to example site. Now we have, whoops, in there we have these three files. Those are the ones that we want. And in our current directory, we have those, but they're empty, right? So let's go ahead and remove those real quick. Hugo.toml, content, and what's the other one? Static. Just make it easier, cpar.-r. So that's copy and recursive, so copy the folder and everything inside of it. We're gonna copy content here, static here, and the last one is the Hugo toml here. All right, go back to our quick start here, and this is where it becomes kind of cool. Hugo server says it's a bunch of stuff, but there's no errors here, and it says we can go to it at localhost 1313. So we go to port 1313, and here is the site, which is pretty cool. Again, I have no idea how this works yet. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and stop this now. Let's go into content, and we see let's look at what we have that matches up here. Chapters 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So we can tell. Oh no, don't do that. We can tell that we have those chapters there, and if we let's see what's inside of chapter 1. Oh, look, 1.md, 2.md, 3.md, and 4.md. Okay, so what that's telling us is that we can put files inside of the directories. If we put make a folder chapter 1, and then we can make a numbered list underneath that, and it'll pop up with the chapter name to the next name. So let's go ahead and see what one of those looks like. If we cat it, we can see here's the header section. So this is the only part to really figure out, and then the rest of this is just some paragraph. So when we go and click to here, you're going to see that paragraph. We can do that real quick with Hugo server. So if we went to here, chapter 1-1, I wonder which one this is, huh? So ls content chapter chapter 1. Index.md. So that's going to be what you see right there. Cool. What else do we see in here that is recognizable? All right, so we got chapters 1, 2, and 3. Looks like in chapter 2 and 3, we got some other stuff, these unlimited levels. So let's go ahead and just look at chapter 3 real quick. All right, so look, all they did is they just create another folder underneath it, right? And I bet you if we go to chapter 4, look at that. And if we go into that one, we're going to see another one. So the more folders you go in, each time you add a folder, it creates another structure in this section here. All right, let's see. Sample document. So if we go back to LS and the content, where's our sample document? Oh, sample. So we have sample document, and then we have, if they're not numbered, look at that. So the numbers only come when you name them chapters, huh? So here we have the index, which is what's going to be seen if we click here. And we can go ahead and cat that out. Oof, look at that. There's a lot in that one. So let's go ahead and look at what this looks like. So again, Hugo server opens this back up. All right, so this is actually kind of a cool thing that just kind of, all this is doing is tell you how Markdown works and how everything looks. So you have your headings, your paragraph. This is a good way to learn Markdown too. We have unordered lists and ordered lists, code blocks, inline code blocks, block code, tables, tables with different alignment, center, right versus left. And this is what it looks like when you throw some images in there. We can go and see how those images are referenced. They're in the static folder, I know that. Definition lists, so we see how these are done. Are these checkboxes checkable? No, they're not. But you can check them inside the Markdown document. So we could see right here, see the X inside that. That's to do task 1, to do task 1. We get a footnotes section, and this is how they're doing the footnotes. So that's kind of cool. All right, what else do we got in here? Getting started. Let's see if we got those in there, huh? So LS content. You can see how this works is basically we're going to write our content into here, right? So we have getting started. Cool. We have entry. Nothing in entry, huh? What is that? Okay, so I guess this is designed to have a, is there, oh, let's see if we can find that. That seems kind of cool. Okay, so pre-Twitter post. Oh, gross. Fuck that. Okay. Primer? What is this? Posts. Okay. This is just an example. We can look at this another time. That's not what I'm looking for. I don't see those. Interesting. Okay. We'll figure that out. Hold on. All right. Archives? No, that doesn't exist either. Blog. Okay. Nothing there. Posts. Creating a new theme. What is that? What? I don't see that on here. Do you? I do not. Okay. Sample. Do we have sample? Sample document. Uh, Built-in shortcodes. Okay, so Why did that come up as sample document? We'll do index, sample document. Okay, so the title. It's not the name of the folder that matters. It's the name of the title right up here. Cool. And you can see here's at weight, which tells it what order to go in, right? A lower weight goes higher, a higher weight goes lower. That's neat. This description? Hmm. Uh, let's run server again. I don't know where that is. Where's that description? Okay. And the last thing to look at here, let's look at the Hugo Tommel. Oh, those pictures. If we went to static, yeah, see here's where the pictures are at, and we can find those pictures. We can find those pictures and show you how that they're inserted. What were they in? They at the bottom of this. So pictures right here. So you start with this little syntax. This is how you your title. This will show up with what the name of the title is here, and then we have our location. So like if you were doing a link, you do it this same way here. This looks like it's got a fallback, so load this image, and if it can't load this image is what it's doing. So this is this image right here. That's at our, this is in our, it goes to our static file. So right there in images, right? Images, and then if we ls inside of images, Prexel Pro, and let's run the server real quick. Hugo server. Got to be in your project directory, right here in project directory, server. And now if we were to inspect this image, look at that, /image is Pexel Pro JPEG. So that's how you do the images. So that's about all you need, right? That went like that because the server was down. So look at that. There it is back up. So, oh no, that is not all we need, is it? We need one more thing. So this file, this is the configuration file. So we got a lot of stuff in here that changes things. So look at that. See this? This menu exclusion. Okay. So the menu exclusion, this is saying don't use those folders that we had in there. So they are saying that this is not going to be included. So you can include your own personal notes in there. Date formats if you care about that shit. Menu. All right, look at this. We have home. So there's home. We have a main menu item. So menu, and then we have the main menu. So all the main menu items are up here. We have home and we have Twitter. Gross. With a pre-bold and a post-bold. So that's how you get the pre and post bolded. And then menu main parameters. Twitter menu item. What does that mean? What happened? Uh, oh my gosh. What's going on here? I must have made an edit to the TOML file. Okay. At line 71. So, Vim 71 G. Okay, there we go. What happens when we click on this? What in the world is this? I I would think that there is supposed to be something else there. I'm not, I guess I don't know what that one is. So this menu main parameters, Twitter menu item, I don't know what that means. That might take some looking up. All right, what else do we have in here? Markup. Don't mess with any of this. Don't mess with any of this. Parameters, tags, and categories. Well, my only question here is how do we get rid of this other garbage up here? I bet we can change this would change here probably if we change this. Let's go change in here. Go. We'll call it RizDocs. Hugo server, refresh. Ooh, look at that. Stop. Control C to stop. Hugo Tech Doc theme. Don't change that. Base URL. I'm guessing we need to change this. I don't know where this is showing up, but I'm going to end up changing this to grizz.sh. Actually, let's do docs.grizz.sh for when I put it on the site. We'll leave that, leave that. Put your description in here. The Grizz docs. All right, so what that's going to do, we can tell that's going to change here. Our GitHub repository. So right now when we click on this, it's going to go to their repository, this one right here. So we'll go ahead and just grab our repository, change that. No. Okay, what else is here? Version 1.02. Let's go with 1.00. GitHub doc repository. Let's leave that there. I don't think I want to change any of that. Title page. Where's the title? Not there. That's where I would have thought it'd be. The title. Maybe we'll find it, huh? Open graph images and okay, let's leave that alone. There is some other stuff up here, right? Where's that getting started with Hugo? Well, we'll go ahead and look. Oh, well, we don't want dash v index.xml. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's super annoying. Okay, well, it's in here somewhere. Yeah. Well, about Hugo. Okay, look at this. We'll edit this one, and we're going to change this to about Grizz docs. Okay. we'll go ahead and do the Hugo server again. We'll refresh this. Bam, about Grizz docs. And keep an eye out for that word. Title, right? Let's see, find dot dash name. Let's see if we can find something named tutorials. Maybe with a capital T. Okay, easy A. Let's see what we got in here. You see the HTML stuff? This is all stuff created for you by you just editing those markdown files, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, I was hoping that there'd be something called tutorials on there. I guess not. What's that? Default. So that's just your headers. We don't care about that. It's got to be in the content somewhere. Usually everything you do is listed in the content. So index. All right, so what do we have? Home title. Home title. Don't see that. Let's go ahead and change it to something else. Let's change it to Grizz home title. A description, let's say Grizz text about this post, right? Because I'm trying to figure out where this is at. All right, Hugo server, refresh, home. This looks like that page, but I would expect it to say, right? So here's, you see modern features. So that stuff is in here, just not what I was, not a way to edit the home page, huh? Is any of this helpful? Table of contents. So that's how we do the table of contents. That's cool. We already know that. Okay. Menu style. So you could have these, you have an open menu, which is what we have it in now, or we could have a slide menu. That was in the Hugo Tommel. You see up here on, right here, open menu or slide menu. So let's go ahead and change this to slide menu. And we'll run the server, refresh page. Now you gotta click them down. That's almost easier to look at too, right? Because now we see in the content folder we have chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Entries are ignored, but we have getting started, which has somehow they have when you do getting started. They have something selected. Oh, no, never mind. I'm dumb. Okay. So all that's there. So really we just have a couple of these up here that are in the way, and I don't know how to figure out what we do about those. Let's go into the content. Let's see if we can find them again. Grep. Let's do Hugo. Let's go char. Let's quote it. Posts. Huh. So posts. This is where we get some of our other sections, huh? That's interesting. Go is for lovers, huh? Here's our title. Grizz template. All right, what do you think's gonna happen? We're going to run it, and I bet you this changes, right? Should change right here. Bam, about Grizz. Look at that. So you see how this is easy this shit is? All right, let's go back to the where we were at. I bet we can find the rest of these, huh? Let's do uh, migrate for Yekel. Where is migrate for Yekel? Under tutorials. Look at that. So let's add Grizz to the end of this, and let's go ahead and save that. We'll go back to where we were, server, and we'll click that, refresh, and now look at that. We have a couple of these little guys here, migrating from Jekyll Grizz. All right, you see, figuring this out. Then creating a new theme. Author Michael Henderson, creating a new theme. Do you see that somewhere? It's under tutorials, creating a new theme. Okay, we don't need to change that. We know how that works. Did we go through all those? Okay, so I think we did all of those. We need, what's missing on here? Template, whatever Grizz template is. Grep-R. No, obviously we did Grizz template because it's changed up here with the word Grizz. So that's the whole thing. These are coming out of the headers, so edit on GitHub. So basically you see how this site is to get up and get started. That's about it. I'll go ahead and write up a little piece of documentation in here, and I'll post it later, and then after I do that, I'll publish it to the site, and I'll show you that too, which is nothing that you need to do because it's all Kubernetes shit. All right, that's all I got. So, bye.